There are a few different ways you can enter the castle itself. The front door is one thing. It's guarded by a couple of witches, but should be able to take them out without too much trouble. But I'm going to try possession for the first time this playthrough.
Wait, I'm not alone.
When you possess witches, they notice you're there, and they say something every time. It's kind of interesting.
It's all dried out, but that makes it easier to collect. Less messy. You can still smell it.
How much of the algae does our Lady Delilah want? And what's it for? Tell me. I won't let the secret slip.
She just needs a bit, and if you promise to keep your...
And when possession ends, they just disappear. I don't know if they teleport somewhere or not, but every time I possess a witch, they just sort of disappear at the end. And that doesn't seem to count as you having been spotted by someone, so... In retrospect, it's a pretty damn good way to deal with witches. Some poor guy was stuck here in the sewer room, and, well, at least we found a whalebone rune. There's a couple to still find in this area, but at this point on, there's not really much I want to put runes into. No sign of that witch?
That feels damp. Heavy. Could be a storm coming.
We have a bone charm that makes it so that the hounds can't smell us. It's particularly useful in this level. And now we can find the sewer entrance. This poor guy decided he didn't want to be caught by the witches. Or possibly was forced by the witches. Anyway, let's go inside the tower proper. Well done. Well done. Much better. Kind of spooky with all those overseer masks. Returning to the Dunwall Tower is fun. It was a cool mission to go through in Dishonored 1.
To restore
and seeing
power to the
the
elevator, I'll have to reach the security room.
differences now is interesting.
But a few days ago, she was spending all of her time in that bleak little overseer chapel. What's afoot? What's she working on?
She probably found it funny, using the chapel as a studio, mixing pigments where those fools used to preach their nonsense. But she moved to the throne room once she was ready to start her new painting.
Always exciting when she starts to sculpt or paint.
Yes, but this one is special. Delilah says it's going to change everything, the world and all the spheres beyond. Go sneak a peek of it, if you dare.
There's definitely something special going on with this last painting. We'll find that out eventually. And here, we find the High Overseer. Strung up. And guarded by a Gravehound. Easy enough to deal with.
I can use the elevator to reach Delilah up in the throne room.
Finally, the last place we find Swift Stalker. And after this one since the very beginning of the game. As randomized bone charms for you. I'm gonna go ahead and trait synergy this for 4 of Swift Stalker. Movement is slightly faster with weapons sheathed. Spring races have a slight chance of failing completely. Who cares? Anyway, that'll be pretty handy. I'll add that to the list of stuff I have. Replace it with Spirited. And we are pretty good to go. The question is how good it's going to be though, because I have another bone charm that means my movement isn't slowed while my weapons are out. Who knows? In Dunwall Tower, you will find several statues of Delilah. And much like we saw when we played as Dowd in the DLC for Dishonored 1, you can talk to them.
So here we are, where my dear, lying half-sister Jessamine and I played as children. Where she first opened her bedchambers to you, then gave birth to your daughter. Where you let Dowd murder sweet Jessamine. The place that ruined both our lives.
You have a twisted view of the world, and I have no idea whether you're telling the truth or not. But it doesn't matter.
Talking to the statues changes the last encounter a little bit, but I feel it's worth it just to hear the dialogue.
We are part of a very small group. Almost the last of Jessamine's circle. And we've both been marked by the black-eyed bastard. What do you think? Do you ever get cold at night, Lord Protector?
I know what it means to give up all hope of gaining justice cleanly. You pass a point, and then you take what you need. But you shouldn't have taken from me, Delilah. Why is there a tree in the middle of the chapel?
It worked. I painted the chapel, but added a tree to the painting. After arranging the runes across the chair, both pure and corrupted, I was able to transpose the chapel made of paint with the one made of stone. With more runes, I should be able to do the same to all the Empire.
Bending the energies of the void. She is incredibly powerful.
Delilah's new painting sounds dangerous, but I might be able to sabotage it.
The world as it should be. With this wretched dung heap we're all born into. At last, all will be made proper and good.
If she actually succeeds in this, that's power on a scale beyond anything we've seen before.
With more corrupt runes, maybe I could turn Delilah's painting against her.
In essence, rewriting reality, which is pretty insane. In the High Chaos playthrough, we just went up there and killed her. But here, for non-lethal, we are going to try it another way. Which involves this corrupted rune. Which is our way to try to sabotage her plan. To do so, we need to get to her first, of course, and there's a lot of places to still check out before we go so far. There are a lot of cool little Easter eggs in this level. You can find notes and... well, that didn't go as planned. But he didn't seem to care. So that's all good. You don't actually need to go down to the security room if you don't want to. What it does is it enables the power and the electricity in the castle, the tower. But there's another path we're taking to get there, actually. Still, I like leaving things on, and it annoys the witches, which is always a bonus. So we're gonna fill up the oil tank and put it where it needs to be. Which is right there.
I can take the elevator to the throne room.
The belly rumble of machines digesting oils from the great leviathans of the deep.
We should see who tampers with the dead metal things.
They have a lot of flowery language to describe the electricity sort of flowing through the tower, but we don't care. I'm gonna bend time, wait for the mana to regen, drink, pick it up, and leave. Goodbye, ladies. That's been what I've done for most of the tower in this level, and haven't necessarily felt the need to hunt down all of them and knock them out and put them in a corner. I've just mostly avoided them. Same for the clockwork soldiers. There is a lot of witches around here.
To have the tower humming and belching sparks once more. Take a note. Remove this playback after the final field test.
Looks like you forgot something, Jindosh.
Red moon. Let's see. It was 6.
Okay, the machine is experiencing uncertainty.
If you're quick enough, you're good enough. This entire path was really interesting. Everyone almost saw me, but not quite. We're home. But look at what they've done to my place. You remember the notes from the Overseer? They had suspicions that I was into the occult, which, obviously, I was. But you really only find some whalebone.
What? Wait.
Before you go, there's one more thing to find.
Reintroducing graphite.
When she sees what I can do with a bit of cat fur and a bow.
Generally, blinking over the chandeliers is the safest way to avoid. Like the lesson you learned from the very tutorial of the game. Stay up high, people rarely look up.
Increasing oil tank temperature. This playback indicates some detection without certainty.
Don't you know by now that empresses fall and empires change hands? The wheels of history turn. They cast me up, they will grind you down.
We'll see about that.
Something's off.
So it's been one of the more interesting parts of Delilah, her ability to speak through statues and so on. You saw some of it in Knife of Dunwall and so on, and a little bit more here as well.
That clockwork thing
Hey,
is
buddy.
still out there somewhere. Got to listen for it coming.
Machine has detected something.
Please don't tell anyone I'm here. I've been in here keeping quiet since this all happened.
Don't worry. But what do you know about Delilah and her people?
After the coup, there was more fighting between the Duke's traitors and the members of the Watch still loyal to the old Empress. Then there was a party for Delilah, just before the Duke returned to Seconis. At some point, the Overseers staged an assault, but it went badly.
What else?
Apparently, Delilah's been working in the Abbey Chapel, preparing something. If you're crazy enough to want to find her, look there, or in the throne room. She and the Duke were talking about a painting.
Stay hidden. I'm here for Delilah. I'm going to take back the tower.
I hope you're right. 3 of us hid here. Genevieve got caught, then Morgan. Now it's just me.
I like to think the Clockwork Soldier is sort of hearing us discuss the little dialogue. That's why he's so uncertain. Hot cocktail is a grenade. Bone charm, not so useful.
Whatever you're going to try. If you don't succeed, I'll wait a couple of days, then try to leave in the early morning. Ugh, I'd give anything to have things back the way they were, before Delilah showed up and everything went to shit.
The machine has completed another full instruction set.
I need new boots. Just don't fit right.
Okay, the machine has detected something.
Someone's burning whale oil again. Curious, who would want the stink in a light?
Time to be a sharpshooter.
This playback indicates some detection.
This happens too infrequently for my liking, even when I've turned it up to frequent. But it's cool. I guess I don't do a lot of headshots when I play stealth, so that's why I don't see it as often.
Playback indicates a false positive.
There's another witch in here. Well, there was another witch in here. And this, I think, is the last bone charm we can find. Unsteady hand. And then Mary Kate had a diary. The tower is ours now. Dunwall and Karnaca are ours. Yeah, about that. You can explore more of the tower if you want, but at this point on, there's only really one place we want to go. And that's to the throne room. And the best way to find the throne room is here. You might remember this secret path from the first game.
Jessamine's old secret chamber is connected to Emily's safe room, which leads up to the throne room.
I swear there's supposed to be a button or something that closes it behind us, but there wasn't. So we're gonna grab that map, and then we're gonna go.
You will take me back and die at my hands.
This path is a lot less crowded, which you would imagine, considering it's kind of a secret thing. And here's Ramsey. Turned to stone. And this is his diary. It's slightly humorous, but also kind of dark. But that's what happened to the guy. Couldn't happen to a better guy, I suppose. We can grab the money. For all the good it'll do us. That's where Delilah blocked off the other entrance. And now we're home.
Whoa.
Mrs. Pilson, Emily's favorite doll. That's also the last little thing we needed to pick up all the souvenirs in the game, so we finally got that achievement. This place is such a mess. It's like Delilah doesn't even care about living in a nice place on her own. She just wants destruction. I guess she just wants to replace everything with the world that's in her painting anyway. So she doesn't care. I do enjoy this sort of thing though, the whole full circle coming back where you started. It's a satisfying theme in a game or even in a story in general. So, let's go to where this all started. The throne room. Now, because we talked to the statues, Delilah knows we're coming, and has summoned 4 gravehounds.
What has Delilah done to the throne?
Now, we can use the heart on her right now, but then we lose out on some dialogue. So instead, I'm going to try to scare away the hounds. I screw it up, but that makes them move back to their original position, where they will be if Delilah hasn't called them to defend themselves. So that all kind of worked out anyway. I'm gonna stand right in front of her. This doesn't count as being spotted by an enemy.
I've waited for this moment here in my tower. So now I will complete my great painting. I will make the world as it should be. And there's no place in it for you. Long live Delilah Kaldwin, first of her reign.
It will be a short reign, don't you worry.
You brought me back my spirit. Follow me, dear Corvo, and see how I will reshape all things.
No more heart. So if you want to kill her, go right in. But we have business to deal with.
If I change the number of corrupt runes attached to the throne, it should turn Delilah's painting against her.
And now we follow her into the world as it should be.
So she'd replace all the world with this.
This is where the final battle takes place, and you might have seen it in the High Chaos playthrough. It can be a pretty bloody one. That is one of her statues, but so is that. And that. And that. Long story short, there's a lot of her replicas around this area, and if you try to walk in, you'll have to fight with them all at once. Delilah herself is overseeing the entire thing from up here. She's laid a trap on us. You can try to grab her here, but sometimes the duplicates will see you and you will have to fight them anyway, breaking your non-detection playthrough. So instead, let's actually kill someone for once. These don't count as human, they are replicas, non-beings, so we can kill them
Why shouldn't my people love their empress?
while maintaining our clean hands. And I'd like to think that it's a way for Corvo to get a little bit of satisfaction of getting to stick his blade inside Delilah and twist her neck. You gotta be careful though, they will and can see you.
In return, I will take back.
This is a trickier way of dealing with this, but I wouldn't want this to be too simple, as it is the last battle anyway.
Formed on their tongues, passing across their lips.
There's 2 to go.
My throne, made greater than any before it.
And finally, the one on the throne. I really want to shoot her here. But if you do, Delilah comes down and hunts you, and she pretty much teleports right on top of you, and it is next to impossible to avoid getting seen by her. So now, once we've taken out almost all the replicates and anyone who could possibly be in her line of sight, we can finally deal with Delilah.
If I put Delilah on the throne, the painting should trap her in her own fantasy world.
The duplicate is gone from the throne. Her power of those creatures lost now when we've taken her out.
You wanted a world of your own, Delilah, so have it.
At last, what I've always deserved. My justice. Now what's always been marred and distorted will be perfect. I've waited so long. Sing my songs and lick my flesh. Worship me.
And so again, She is trapped. And she has been defeated once and for all. For a final note, we can read her diary, which sort of shows you just how twisted and obsessed she still is after all this, and why this painting was her very last hope. I will create a perfect world where they will look upon me with awe. The world as it should be. Finally, we have Emily.
Emily.
Father, what happened?
Take it easy. I'll explain everything.
And so the time of crisis in Karnaca came to an end, with the city's wisest citizens unscathed. Led by its new council, the southern capital was pulled back from the brink of anarchy, and Serkonos began to thrive. In Dunwall, without ever realizing it, Delilah passed into an imagined world where her father's promises were fulfilled and her subjects would love her forever, as she sailed the ocean with a great fleet and trekked across the Pendician wastes. While in the true capital, Emily the Just, Emily the Clever, ruled for decades over a prosperous, mended empire with Corvo Attano by her side. In his day, Anton Sokolov fired the engines of industry, hurtling the empire into a more sophisticated age. He dallied with nobles, wayward artists, and great inventors alike, drinking in all that life could offer. Leaving Dunwall for the last time, he headed to the cold north, contented at last, on a final voyage to take him home. There are things that never change, no matter how hard you try. Questions you must answer. As Megan Foster faded from the world, Billy Lurk stepped from her shadow, setting out to discover her truest self, and seeking the closest thing she'd ever known to family.
And so ends Dishonored 2. The Low Chaos, Clean Hands, Shadow, Ghosts playthrough. The ending hints towards a story possibly with Billy in the future, which makes sense, I guess, now that we've changed time and she can use her hand and eyes anymore. Would be pretty cool to see her and see the continuation of the story with Dowd as well. But overall, you can look at the ending in a couple of different ways. One of them being that Delilah got off easy. And to a degree she did. She wasn't really punished. As far as she knows, she succeeded. She won. She got everything she wanted. But the point of all of this wasn't to punish Delilah. That is the difference between high chaos and low chaos in some ways. It's not about causing her pain or punishing her or even killing her. It's about freeing the Empire from her and getting her out of the way and making her not a danger. That's exactly what we did. Now, the original Witches of Brigmore ended with the same thing. Dowd trapped her inside a painting, but she knew she was lost in the void, and that's where she found the power to bring her back. But now, she thinks she's won. She will never do that. She won't try to get it back because she's in her dream world. The other parts of the story we saw the council ending of Karnaca, We've left everyone alive, so they run the city as a group of people together. It's a pretty good one. And of course, since there was low chaos and we didn't kill anyone, Emily the Clever, Emily the Just, and Corvo as the Protector. Fairly satisfying. Even Anton got a bit of a happy ending, going towards Tivia for his final journey. And that ties up the story bits of the game. And I gotta say, it was pretty satisfying for the most part. I'd say Dishonored 1 had a more thematic and prettier ending, I suppose. I think part of that is because of the amazing end song, Honor for All, which is so amazing. And while I appreciate the Street Singers version of this, it can't beat Honor for All, which was so good. I love this game a lot. It pretty much shares the #1 spot of favorite game ever with Dishonored 1. It's hard for me to really separate the two, especially considering the fact that there was an entire DLC to Dishonored 1, and there probably will be a DLC to this one as well. I think I preferred playing as Emily the most. I felt that the story felt better with Emily, though I very much appreciated hearing Corvo's voice and his thoughts and seeing how he interacted with other people. I thought the world was very well developed. It was fun to see Karnaca, and the environments were great. I think it has some of the best levels I've ever played. Clockwork Mansion is amazing, Crack in the Slab, brilliant, and just for a giant big set piece, the Grand Palace was really fun to play through as well. The last mission on its own, not super interesting, but I enjoy the whole, like I mentioned, the coming full circle theme, so coming back to where it all started. But I suppose none of that comes as a surprise to you. If I were to put this much effort and work into a game, it would have to be something I truly enjoyed. And on that note, I think we'll call this an end. Thank you for watching Dishonored 2. If you watched both series or just one, either way, thanks. And until the DLC, goodbye.